Let's talk about episode 35, and that's a banger, dude. So, the beginning of this episode, we can see Dr. Marco reading Scar's brother's book about Alka history. Alka history, for those who don't remember or don't know, it's Qing's alchemy. Qing is the country where Xiao Mei and Ling comes from. And Alka history is basically it's alchemy. And Dr. Marco is very intrigued about it, and Xiao Mei shows how Alka history actually works. And Alka history essentially would be kind of like acupuncture. Acupuncture because it really manipulates the body's energy flows and helps healing the body, helps healing the mind. And if you notice, you may think, oh man, it's different than alchemy, a master's alchemy, because alchemy only messes with inanimate objects, and there's nothing with people. But you would be wrong, because notice, dude, if you remember the story in the anime, actually the alchemy that comes from a master's actually comes from all the souls that father sacrificed in churches. Churches, that whole country 1500 years ago. I don't know how to speak in English, so I'm just saying churches. It's those souls that actually make alchemy work. So much so that there was that episode where father just turns off, the country's alchemy. And this representation of both powers is actually very revealing about how the leaders in those countries actually work. Because of course we're noticing in this anime in general that the leadership in the masters and the politicians really don't care and don't know and don't empathize with the people. They don't care about what happens to the people. They are plainly actually sacrificing the people for some greater good or some immortal army they're trying to make for no freaking reason. And that's a great and amazing plot point. Because, again, maybe this anime is trying to represent Qing as China in the real world, and a masters of course would be Japan in the real world. And if you notice, Japan has in general a very subservient people and people that follow rules and very close-knit society. Meanwhile, China is just a freaking nightmare, politically speaking, and it's very hard to actually keep any power. So much so that China actually kind of looks like Qing again. If you remember Link actually comes to the country trying to get some power so his clan can actually get the throne again. So that just shows how Qing is, and China doesn't go very much further from that. If you actually know how the CCP worked and how China's 100 years of shame actually worked, is basically the same. So stepping back way before, we can actually believe that mostly the leadership in Japan actually doesn't care too much about its people. Again, because of how subservient the people are. I imagine most leaders in China actually don't know how the people work and how people are, and they don't care really, because it doesn't matter to them, because people in general just want power, they don't want to lose it, and they will just be focused on the next election. And I would imagine actually China only, in the writers thinking, only really understand its people because China is really big, has a lot of people, and there are a lot of power grabs, and they are kind of forced to understand it, and they only understand the people because of its, the nation cycle. So much so that I do think, you know, China thinks as a civilization state and a civilization nation, not so much as a government, which is another, you know, topic that I'm approaching in another episode. The other thing I am approaching in this episode, no, actually that's it. I'm actually talking about sacrificing its people and the power, and it actually closed up very neatly. Of course, if you guys are realizing I'm smoother in this episode, I'm just trying to write the episode beforehand, kind of following some sort of script. If you guys like that, please comment below. If you guys like the video, please like it, and if you guys like the channel, please subscribe. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time.